City's wastewater treatment plant is getting plans in place for what will be one of the city's largest capital investment projects in total, clocking in at around $450 million. That plant is getting plans in place for phase one of its plant improvements. In phase one, the plant would see several replacements to its liquid stream process and construction of a new lift station and secondary treatment building. The majority of the new construction projects would be replacing equipment that was built in 1964. The typical lifespan to most equipment at a wastewater treatment plant is 15 to 20 years, according to the utilities director, Tom Pingle.
When we're running all this equipment at 100% all the time and we don't have any other equipment to put on to take equipment down to do work on it, it's just things are bound to break, and that's where we are. Tanks are crumbling, the gases down here are getting worse and worse, so it's time, and we're excited to see it happen.
Now, the city is working to sign a construction management at risk, or CMR, to aid in the planning and construction of that project. The CMR will assist with design plans and give cost inputs throughout the planning process.
They can just bring in a ton of different ideas that our engineer and the city just can't do alone. So bringing out these large contractors that have years and years of experience of doing these large projects, they know what to expect, and hopefully they can do some value engineering to save us some money.
Including a CMR also greatly reduces the financial risk taken by the city. Once the two sides agree on a guaranteed maximum price, if any additional costs occur due to mismanagement, those extra costs won't be passed on to the city. Now, the wastewater treatment plant hopes to get a CMR approved by the city council by early December.